Welcome to another video and another story. So glad to have you here. In this video, we're gonna dive into a summary of a Japanese rom-com anime called Nagasarete Airantou. This story is all about a young guy named Ikuto Touhouin who, after a huge fight with his dad, leaves home. Now that he's on his own, he's super excited to finally get a taste of the freedom he couldn't have while living under his dad's rules. All right, let's get into it. Let's go. So, Ikuto, this young guy who ran away from home, hops on a ship but ends up falling into the ocean. He washes up on an island, but it's not just any island. Every single person living there is a woman. Suzu, a girl on the island, saves Akito's life with CPR. After that, they take him to the island's elder's house to help him recover. Then, they leave Akito in Suzu's care, but not before a huge secret gets revealed. Akito is a guy. This news explodes all over the island, and most of the women get pretty jealous of Suzu for finding such a rare specimen. On the way back home, Suzu and Akito run into Ayane, who's determined to make Akito hers. She tries to shoot Suzu with an arrow, but accidentally hits Akito instead. Finally, Suzu gets Akito home and gives him an insanely delicious drink that basically works like magic and makes him feel all better. Akito heads to the bath to clean up, and Suzu has no idea how she's supposed to act with a guy in the bath, since none of the girls on the island have ever been around one. Suzu tries to wash Akito's back and even asks him to do the same for her, but then Ayane shows up out of nowhere, once again wanting to claim Akito for herself. Akito just can't handle all this and ends up passing out from blood loss. But Akito's story doesn't end here. Ayane kidnaps Akito, and Suzu gets super upset. Rin, the island's carpenter, jumps in to help Suzu and immediately proposes to Akito. Right then, Yukino, the youngest girl on the island, rides in on a huge bear named Kumakuma. Yukino and Rin start arguing over who gets to go out with Akito, and he finally manages to escape from all the chaos. Akito's running around the village looking for a way to escape when he bumps into Chikage. At first, she seems like an ordinary girl, but then she tries to kidnap him to study him. Another girl tries to shoot Akito with an arrow, but he gets saved last second. Soon, everyone on the island is chasing after Akito until Suzu swoops in and saves him. Akito finally gets in a boat and heads out to sea, unaware that the island is surrounded by waves that make escape impossible. A killer whale tips his boat, sending him back to the island, and Suzu has to rescue him yet again. This time, she shows up in a thin white cloth to save him and ends up explaining to Akito why there aren't any men on the island. Turns out, men used to live there too, and they even had a fishing competition every year. Then, Ayane shows up out of nowhere, trying to kidnap Akito yet again. Hearing him shout, Suzu rushes out, only to find a giant eggplant look-alike thing left by Ayane as a distraction. Suzu, wearing just a skirt and a cloth around her upper body, dashes after Akito. He's tied up, begging Suzu to wear proper clothes before rescuing him. Ayane and Suzu start fighting, and Akito ends up getting tossed onto Ayane and face-first into Suzu's chest, giving him a nosebleed. Suzu finally gets rid of Ayane by smacking her with the eggplant thing. Next, Chikage tries to convince Akito to stay with her, saying she's not interested in marriage and offering him a hiding place. But she secretly sets a trap to study Akito, the rare specimen that is a man. Suzu changes the trap's setup, causing Chikage to fall into her own trap. Another group of girls then charges at Akito. He keeps running and ends up jumping over a river. He can't quite make it to the other side and ends up hanging on. When he pulls himself up, he finds Machi waiting for him. Realizing he's stuck, he decides to jump into the river, but it leads to a waterfall. Suzu dives in after him to save him. Then Yukino and her giant bird, Taka Taka, swoop down and grab him, but Akito gets so freaked out by the height that Taka Taka lets go. Luckily, a pig that Yukino had turns into a balloon, saving Akito just in time. He takes a breath, but as soon as he lands, he sees a cute panda-like bear. And just when he thought he'd finally escaped, Suzu appears again to rescue him from the bear, throwing it aside. But the bear comes back, and Akito tries to save Suzu, which leads to him getting thrown to the other side of the island. Meanwhile, Ayane, who had been knocked out during the hide-and-seek contest announcement, gets accidentally crushed by Suzu and her sister several times throughout the day. Ayane eventually makes it to town, spots Akito, and chases after him before he can run. Suzu and Akito have breakfast together and get ready for the day. While Akito searches his bag for his phone, Suzu heads out to the well to fetch water. At that moment, Rin, the strongest person on the island, shows up carrying a big bucket. Suzu mentions to Akito how Rin is the strongest, which kind of bothers Akito. Determined, he rushes off to Suzu's house, grabbing both water buckets. As he runs past Suzu's place, he spills the water everywhere. Rin then offers him some water, but he refuses. Rin asks another girl to throw something at Akito, and the younger girl suddenly appears in front of Akito, Suzu, and Rin. Rin gets quiet around her, and Suzu explains to Akito that the girl is Makoto, Rin's little sister. Makoto seems to like Rin, but isn't interested in Akito's. She even thanks Akito for helping keep people away from Rin. Suzu and Akito then head into town to help others with their work. Suzu explains that her job is to help people who are really busy and need a hand. The first place they go to is the potato field. Akito proudly tells her he was the champion potato digger back in kindergarten and tries to get to work. Suzu tells him that he can't do it alone, but Akito, being a sore loser as always, tries his best anyway and falls flat. Then, during a fishing contest, Akito catches a huge sea creature that ends up biting him. Next, it's time for milking a cow, but Akito can't get it right because the cow falls on top of him. Later, Suzu, Akito, Yukino, and Chikuch go mushroom picking, though not just any mushrooms. They're looking for Masuke mushrooms, which grew huge because of the recent rain and need to be picked before they get even bigger. Yukino finds them and gets super mad that everyone else is trying to get friendly with each other. At this point, Yukino's bird is carrying a big earthworm, which freaks out Rin, who backs away because she hates bugs. Then Yukino throws the worm toward Rin, and Akito jumps in to save the day. Suzu reassures Akito, telling him he's important and that he's actually made her feel like she has a family. Before, she used to envy the other girls who had homes to go to, food to eat, and people to talk to. Meanwhile, Ayane is taking a break after cleaning up her temple yard, peacefully munching on a cookie, when she finds a note from her older sister Machi, saying not to eat the cookie. Suzu and Akito haul big daikon radishes up to the temple hill. Exhausted, Akito sits down to rest, but Machi jumps onto his legs and starts flirting with him. Suzu asks if Machi's mother is around, and Machi says yes, but that she's busy cooking. Machi has an idea. She tells Suzu that if she finds Ayane, she'll give her 20 freshly made Manju Dai Fuku cakes. Suzu quickly agrees. She sets up some traps, and Akito tells Suzu he doesn't think she'll find Ayane so easily. But Suzu's confident she can pull it off. Suzu climbs up a big rock, yells as loud as she can, and mocks Ayane's figure. This, of course, makes Ayane show up to confront Suzu about her lies. While Suzu searches for Machi's weakness, Ayane decides to ask around the village. Rin claims to be scared of a creature called the Abuman, which supposedly lives in the south. But she forgets that this creature is rumored to eat anyone who gets too close. Ayane tries to carry one of these creatures back, but it's so heavy it nearly breaks her back. Ayane then asks Chikuch about it, and later, Suzu comes back and says that if something like a sword or arrow hits its heart, it'll die. That's the weak point. Machi gets angry and yells that no one can hurt this poor creature. Suzu says she didn't mean to upset her, and Machi insists she'll check if Suzu is lying or not. As they sit around, they hear Ayane scream, which freaks everyone out, and Akito rushes over to see what's going on. He finds Ayane, looking pale and half unconscious. Ayane, stepping up, tries to use her special exorcist training to banish a ghost from the temple. But then the ghost goes after Akito. Akito wrestles with it, pins it down, and convinces it to stop haunting people. The ghost thanks Akito for his kindness and happily leaves in peace. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the anime recap. If you enjoyed it and want more anime reviews and recaps, give this video a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you're the first to know when new anime content drops. Your support keeps us going.